Hey everybody, Arma here, Chi Skills, and today we have another podcast, and we have a pretty daunting one because we're going to talk about success
Ooh,
and what success is.
according to Qigong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, it's bear with us because I think it's a big one, and but we're going to do our best.
So what is success?
I think it's defined by being aligned, that you're thinking, everything you feel, and everything you do is aligned.
Wow.
So that the spirit can come through in everything that you do.
Now there's quiet. A
Long silence. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, thinking, feeling,
and acting.
acting.
Yes.
Thinking, feeling, acting.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
think about when that's not aligned.
Yeah.
So you think, you're in your head, you have certain thought patterns,
Yeah.
you have emotions, you have your acting or non-acting, and they're not aligned. What happens? You think one thing, you feel another thing, and then you do another thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's messy.
That's messy,
Yeah, that's
right?
messy. Yeah. That's that will take up a lot of energy.
It will take a lot of
And
energy.
But what maybe that's good to first look at when it's not aligned. What do we think of when? What's the first thought that comes into your minds, or probably a lot of us, when we hear the word success?
Well, I think mostly we think about material success and maybe having a social status or it has a lot of different, I think, layers, right? So it's not that, but I think how we grow up, more is better, right? And we want to belong, and we want to have compliments. We want to have the feeling that we're doing something. We want to belong, right?
Yeah. Oh no. And if I think about success, it's probably the thing my father taught me what success is. So it's a conditioned way of looking at success.
Exactly.
And that's, if I think about my father, success is having enough money.
That's one thing for sure, right? Is making sure that you can pay the bills and have a steady job, or
having a good marriage.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of set up for success in his eyes.
Exactly. So that's more of a materialistic approach to what success is, I guess, right? So as long as you have your house, your car, your family, your thing, right? You're okay, right? The basics are covered.
Exactly, and it's also everything in your younger life is set up for that kind of success, because your parents talk about it, and everybody else in your surrounding talks about it, and then you go to school, and school is really setting you up for that kind of success.
Yeah, it's sort of a path. You're being sort of pushed into a path, right? You have the school, you have the career, and how the career is going to develop, and blah blah, and then setting up for your pension and making sure that you have. It's like you're being pushed into a road or something, right? It's like, and there you go, and that leads to success.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the people who are actually listening to this now are already pretty aware that is not success per se. No. I'm not saying that material success cannot be successful. I mean, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's part of life.
But how do you feel while you're doing it?
Yeah.
Right? How do you feel while you're doing that and walking that?
Yeah, is that making you happy? Or I think for me, there was a point when I thought, is this it? Is this what my life will look like?
Yeah. I think we all go through that, right? Yeah. We walk the walk, and we go to school, and I remember when I was in school, I was really, really critical already. I couldn't really explain it then. And I was looking around at my teachers, and it's like, you're trying to teach me something, but I can feel that you're not happy. I can feel that there's something behind all of this that's just not right. Not right for me, anyway. right? So I had a pretty hard time on school. I went through it, but then, I never felt that I belonged there or something. It's like, this is not my world.
I think I had the same, because at school, when studying in college, that was a good time for me. I really enjoyed doing that because there was a lot of exploring in that. But when I got a job, that's when things went a bit the other way.
Right.
I was like, oh, this structure and doing things that I thought, what's the meaning of this? Am I really doing something good for the world? Doing something good for me? And I saw so many unhappy people walking around as well. I had an office job at that time. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of games being played there as well, right?
Yeah.
So, and so you sort of wake up while you're doing it. I woke up very young, right? I think I was born awake. Somehow it's like something's off, right? Something's just not right here. Yeah. Something's off, and later you learn that's true, right? Because this conditioning that's happening in every family, you just cannot escape it. Is gonna determine how you are gonna behave for a large part, with you even not being aware of it, right? Yeah. Unless it feels wrong, and for a lot of people, it does feel wrong, right? The sad thing is that we're gonna walk the path anyway.
Yeah.
Right. We're gonna, but at what point do you hit sort of a wall and decide like, well, this is not for me?
Yeah.
Right. That's for a lot of people a difficult decision to make, right? Because you build a life around yourself, with the people around you, and what are they gonna think of it, and what's your family gonna think of it, and I'm sure that people listening now can relate to that.
Yeah, and I think it's also that when you just come out of college and you start building up this life, you buy a house, you get married, maybe have children, and then you're kind of in this position that it's also hard to move. You're kind of stuck there.
Yeah.
And this is, it's difficult to kind of step out of there and say, okay, this is not for me. I want to turn it around. And maybe that's also not the case that you turn it, or some people do. They just leave the situation, but otherwise it's more a step-by-step process.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's more that it's I think there's nothing wrong with the house. There's nothing wrong with the car. No. There's nothing wrong with the children, of course. We're all children, aren't we?
Yeah.
So, but it's how you feel while you're in that situation, right? Which determines, am I going to get out of what it's inside me? So it's not on the out. I think what we're trying to say here, and this is why this is a pretty hard subject, is that it's not about the things outside. It's all about the inside. And that's when we get into the Qigong, right? Where we're gonna have, if we want to make a change in how we feel in this situation with ourselves, we have to go inside.
Yeah.
Right? And we want to go through all these layers of who we are and see where the conditional patterns are.
Yeah.
So we can make a change. And that's where Qigong comes in, because it's all these things that are stuck in you, right? All this conditioning is actually energy. Because there's nothing that's not energy, right? So if we're getting into that, we have a chance to transform behaviors, transform thought patterns, how we look at ourselves, how we look at the world, how we, our place in the world and everything. So, and that's amazing that's been there for I don't know how long, but it's and it will be there for a long time, because it's for us, it's been such a great path to walk, right? Because it's a path to walk. It's not something that you just flip around like that. No way. It's a process.
Yeah, and I think for us, well, you started training I think just after we got married. I kind of have to remember
When
going
was
back.
that? It's such a long time ago.
And then we still were in this place of, okay, living the life of what was expected of us.
What we thought was expected of us,
yeah,
right?
It's always the kind of mirror.
Yeah.
Because nobody forced us but it's the picture in your mind that's been created through your life.
And that's interesting because there's no one sitting you down for like 10 minutes to say, okay, you're gonna go to school, you're gonna get a nice car, you're gonna get a nice. It's not that way. It's by observing your surroundings, and it's happening, and you hear your father talk, your mother talk, you hear your aunt, your uncle, you hear friends and the parents of your friends, and it just creates this picture.
Yeah, it creates this picture, and you kind of want to. This is your safety, also. It's your safety,
for sure.
Because if you don't walk that path, like, okay, where do you go?
Right, you're still sort of a group animal as a human, right? I mean, you want to belong, and you want love, and you want to be loved, and things like that. So, but we were still in that position.
Yeah, and I think, okay, we got married, which was great, and that was, I think, our souls really connected there, and then we started going after that picture, and we bought a house, and there it totally went wrong for us.
So the universe really helped us there.
Yeah,
it was like, that's not for you guys.
No,
that's not for you to get stuck in that way with this huge loan and things like that. No. Travel light. That was the message we got.
Yeah.
And
again, it's if you don't listen to your inner voice, if you don't listen to the universe, the screaming will only get louder.
Absolutely.
And so that was something we experienced, and we got quite a lesson there.
We don't really have to get into it, but it involved a neighbor, and it was horrible. Yeah. It was a horrible experience.
Yeah. So, but coming out of that experience, that really, and things need to happen to let you see how you want to move on into your life.
Exactly.
And after that, we really got onto a path of self-exploration.
Absolutely.
And it doubled. I mean,
it's still going like crazy. It's like a wheel that just spins faster and faster, right? So I think coming out of this extreme situation where I was so confronted with my own reactions to the situation, where I felt so stuck and everything, and I was like so explosive. That gave me this insight that there's something inside of me that needs to change. It's my reaction to these situations that has to change. So I have to go inside to see what's there, because I recognize my parents, right? You recognize your family and how you behave. And I'm like, am I this?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Because even when you start thinking that, you know you're not, right? But it doesn't mean that the behavior is away. So, and then, moving forward a little bit in the training, the Qigong training and the Tai Chi training that I did, and especially the Hermetics training that I got in later and I'm still into right now, it's all these layers we're going through, right? But the first thing is that I heard, and that's a physical entry really into all this, is that if you want to grow spiritually, you have to be physically aligned.
Yeah.
And what does that mean? Well, if we look at thinking, feeling, and doing, that's related to the three dantian, right? It's the center of it's the mental body up here. In the center of your head, you have the feeling here, the solar plexus and the heart region. And then we have in the lower abdomen, we have the center of our vitality, our doing, right? And our spine, and this is so funny because the spine is like, there's an expression in Holland, you have a spine or not, right? And I think in English the same, is that this spine, opening this spine is such the center of all Tai Chi, Qigong, meditation training. And what does that do? It makes sure that your thinking, your feeling, and doing, these three centers, really literally get aligned. And that opens up the spine for the spirit to come through. And that's just crazy, right? And I spent a long time doing standing practices and doing all sorts of training to cultivate this spine.
Yeah.
And without that, I couldn't have done it.
Yeah.
I'm sure of that. It's the absolute foundation, right? So this is where Qigong comes in. And I don't think a lot of people realize that Qigong goes much further than just being some sort of health exercise, right?
Yeah.
No, it goes all the way, right? It's a transformational process,
yeah.
right?
And it reflects on every aspect of your life. Yeah.
Absolutely. There's nothing more really, right? It's the thinking, the feeling, and the doing.
Yeah.
And there's the spirit that wants to come through. And we just have to allow and see if we're aligned, first align, and then look what's stagnated on these levels, right? Yeah. So what's in my body? Where's the physical stress? And going to the emotional body, it's like, where are the traumas? Where's the things that where's the anger? Where's the frustration? All these things, and then mentally look there for what are the things I'm saying to myself, right? What's the self-talk here, and how is that all related with each other? And then, so you first go inside, and sort of start getting distance from that, like creating mindfulness around it. Oh, there's tension. Oh, there's this feeling. Oh, there's anger. Oh, there's a thought. And that gives us the entry to release the stagnations that are there.
Yeah.
And this is the most important thing, I guess. And also in what we teach, right?
Yeah.
And what we do.
Absolutely. And it goes on every level. Because it has an impact. Your thought patterns have an impact on how you feel, but also how you live your life, how your patterns through the day are. What kind of food do you eat? How much attention do you give to your food? How much attention do you give to yourself? Is there self-care? And
exactly,
all these things matter. It all adds up. And I think if I look back in those years, just coming out of a difficult period, and then we really got to work first on our physical bodies.
Yes.
I was doing more yoga, but then you learned about the stretches. I stretch every day.
Yeah, stretching.
And then we got more seriously into food. So we really got onto that journey to see, okay, what's a better way of eating that fits us?
Exactly. Are we feeding the spirit, or are we feeding our unconsciousness? Yeah. Because that's a subject all on its own, right? But I hope people understand, and maybe a little bit fake for some people, is why we have this combination going, right? But it's not vague at all, because how are you feeding yourself determines how concentrated you are, and how mindful you can be in your life, and see where you can make changes that lead to a higher form of success, right? So our diet has become so important in this whole thing.
Transformation. And also we looked at our lifestyle on every aspect, and every time you make a step, you start feeling, okay, what's the next thing I can let go of, or that something is put on your path that you think, oh, this is something that it's really gonna help me go through a next phase.
Oh, totally. And that's the funny thing, right? Is that you with all these tiny steps, it's like there comes this. I feel the spirit becomes stronger with every step, because it comes through, and it wants to be here.
Yeah.
It desperately wants to be here, right? And so if you start, there's no way back, right? And that's so cool. I mean, so one thing leads to the next one, the other thing leads to the next one. And it's so funny, if we look at Western hermetics, which is an esoteric, how you call that? An esoteric discipline, you could say. It starts right off with the first exercise is mindfulness, because you cannot change without being mindful, without taking 2 steps back and looking at yourself like, who am I, right? Who am I when I think, and how are my emotions and everything? So that's the first thing, and that's the mental thing. And then the physically, start stretching immediately and become conscious of how your construction is and everything, and immediately going into introspection. It's like, out of this mindfulness, it's like, what are all these patterns in me? Where is this? And it starts with that immediately, right? So, and then there's 9 steps after that, right? So it's only like the few first pages, and it's immediately setting up like, okay, your condition, and we have to change that, right?
Yeah, and it's every time you think, okay, I'm conditioned, but only when you go into this, you understand how deeply conditioned you are, and that you take on all this stuff, all these emotions from generations back, and you take it on, and you live through lives that aren't yours.
Exactly.
If you're not conscious about it, and so you feel sadness, you feel anger that wasn't yours.
Exactly.
And if you can let go of that sadness, anger,
and transform that into, who you really are,
that's so much lighter.
And that's a healing, right?
Yeah.
It's a healing process for sure. It's going back in time and seeing there was my reaction to that situation, and look how I reacted. I reacted the same as my mom. I reacted the same way as my father. And you're like, wow, that's not working anymore.
Yeah.
It might have helped me in the past, right? In some sort of situation, but it's not helping me anymore. Yeah. So this healing aspect is unbelievable, and Qigong does that, and that's why looking at your diet, all these things are Qigong, because it's all energy, right?
And you see, I think for me, going on this journey, I felt cut off from life force, I think, looking back. And going on to this journey, I feel more and more and more connected through food, but also going out to nature. When I got back into herbs, as that felt as something I knew. It was there immediately. I just felt the herbs, and seeing them grow and going through the season, it gives me such more connection to the world around me, to the people around me, and that's just beautiful. That makes me so happy, and it really feels
aligned. Right? That's totally aligned, and I see you doing it, and you're not doing that for the first time. That's just your natural.
Yeah.
That's what your spirit wants to do here, right?
Yeah.
That's what it's good at. Same with me. I'm a teacher. That's what I am, right?
Yeah.
I teach. I love to teach. It's just, but there's been times where I really doubted that, and I thought I have to walk a different path than that, And so coming in contact with, and that's when the spirit comes through, is when you start realizing is that you already are a master in what you're doing. Yeah. It's already there, And that's one of the things that Mark Rasmus, my hermetics teacher, always says. It's like, you are already a master. You only have to look at what's being conditioned, and that's in between you and this mastery, right? This doubt, the all these lower aspects of the mental body and the ego, and that's just in doubt, right? We have to recognize it, let it go, transform it, and let the master come through.
And I think that's so beautiful what your teacher said, or Mark said, because it does not have to be heavy. It does not have to be hard. Life doesn't have to be hard.
No.
As you all already are a master of something, and you just need to find out what it is, and then there will be ease.
There will be ease, but we're conditioned to think absolutely the other way. Yeah. Life is hard, it's a struggle. When you grow up, you hear adults saying all these things like, well, enjoy it while it lasts, your youth, because it's going to get terrible or whatever.
No, you're a student, so now you should enjoy life. Yeah.
Well, that's the funny thing. The things that we're good at, actually really good at, we sort of take for granted sometimes, right? Well, most of the times maybe, because you're like, oh yeah, everybody can do that. Well, I've got news for you. That's not true at all, right? I mean, you have to find where the flow goes. So if you're really good at something, it might say something about, it's like, and you need to have fun.
Yeah, enjoy.
Yeah, that's also something that's in between you and your success, right? Is that, you need to have fun with what you do, right? You have to... This feeling that it's hard to describe this feeling,
But I think while stepping into this path and living it ourselves and searching, you meet so many beautiful people on the way.
Unbelievable.
And I think
that truly resonate with you, right?
Yeah.
Because you're so open that they resonate. Their master in them resonates with the master in you.
Yeah. And we help each other, because every person that comes to me and wants to learn about food, I learn something from them. If they want to work with me on herbs and get herbs for a specific team in their life, it's an interaction. I learn just as much from them as they learn from me.
Yeah, this ever growing.
Yeah.
And they grow, you grow, right? Yeah, it's. I think this is so important. And if you look at material success, there's nothing wrong with that, right?
No.
It could even be that if you're on your spiritual journey, that you sort of start attracting that sort of success, right? Yeah. But it's not your aim at all. It just it can happen, right? Yeah. Might not happen. It doesn't matter. It's all about how you feel.
Exactly.
And how aligned you are with yourself. Yeah. And the Qigong path is a wonderful path, but because it skips nothing.
Yeah.
It looks at everything.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Walk your true path.
Walk your true path. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And see your life as a journey.
Yeah.
Is how to get there, right?
Absolutely.
And that you have the time to do that.
Wow. Powerful.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful. I think it sums up sort of what we're doing, what we are about, right? So I think most of what comes out of this will, it's the information we're going to share in the future as well. So it's a big subject, but I think we touched on some important aspects here, right?
And,
subjects.
I hope it was helpful.
I hope.
Yeah.
I hope so. Yeah. Yeah. And
lots more is coming.
A lot more is coming, of course. If you like this, like and subscribe, of course. Yeah. If you're already done, thank you so much. And thank you for the lovely comments. We get awesome comments from people. And that fills my heart as well, right?
Absolutely.
Talking about alignment. So
absolutely. So, hope to see you next time.
Absolutely.
And
take care.
Take care. Bye. Bye.